The animated armor of D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition is one of my favorite creatures to throw at my parties. I mean, what other monster is like the equivalent of the fantasy Terminator? So, with that being said, I thought I'd make a quick video highlighting 3 different ways that you can use them in your campaigns. Feel free to steal any of these ideas and just throw them into your own game. Each of these encounters will also have their own battle map that I created using Dungeon Draft and Crosshead Studios assets, and they're all free over on my Patreon, so if any of these maps jump out at you and you want to use them in your own game, go grab them there. So for this first encounter, I wanted to highlight probably my favorite thing about the animated armor, and that is deep down, the animated armor is a horror creature. It is a thing that could have an entire horror franchise dedicated to it, and I'll tell you why. So, for this encounter, I take us to an abandoned magic shop. Now, why was this magic shop abandoned? Who knows? But rumors have been told, or at least the party has heard, that whenever anyone tries to break into said magic shop, which still has items in it, by the way, they are greeted by a creature who slowly moves through the darkness, who will run through bookcases and tables to destroy anyone who enters, and that is the animated armor. You see, one of the core features of the animated armor in D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition is that they can see in the dark. In D&D 5th edition, animated armor have blind sight, meaning they use like magical echolocation, and in Pathfinder 2nd edition, they have dark vision. Along with that, these creatures can't be reasoned with. They are creatures that will only do what they were told. They are the Terminator of the Monster Manual. So, if you have an abandoned magic shop and the party is trying to break in, they will have to break in and try to sneak past creatures that, once are activated, can fight in the darkness just as well as they can fight in light, and will not stop until they fulfill their goal, and their goal usually is, hey, stop things from existing in this space. So an abandoned old magic shop, which has a lot of goodies that the party wants, giving them a reason to sneak past these animated armors, can turn really horrifying really quick, especially if one of them gets activated, you know, the animated armor, and then the party tries to run, and then the animated armor just kind of like Terminator stomps right through a table and begins chasing them, which is pretty neat. For the second encounter, we are going to do something that I absolutely love to do with animated armor, and that is make them very, very, very big. You see, in this encounter, the party is trying to get some type of lost magical item. We're highlighting a lot of magical items today, I guess. In the ruins of some type of swamp temple. In that swamp temple, they come upon a very large statue, and within that statue's hands, near its chest, is said magic item. Now, the wonderful thing about animated armor is that it is very tough. It has a lot of AC, meaning that it is very hard to hit, or very hard to do damage to, I should say. Along with that, in D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition, the animated armor is immune to most conditions, which makes it the perfect monster, in my opinion, to make very big, because first of all, you don't have to change much about the stat block. It is very tough to kill anyway, so when it is very big, it is still going to be very tough to kill. Along with that, you can use the feature in which when the animated armor doesn't move, it just looks like a statue, which you can fool your party with, and you can just like use the base stats. You can use the base shielding it has to just enlarge it, so when the party gets to the swamp, they go try to steal the treasure, they then find themselves trying to fight like a 20-foot animated armor, and you really, like I said, you don't have to change much in the stat block. It still fits thematically. Like the animated armor, it doesn't have to be like created by an artificer. It can be created by some type of divine ritual to protect the treasure, and you have a very fun encounter. And if you want to add on to that encounter after the combat, if the players don't destroy the very large animated armor, you can have them like get chased by it, which is equally as fun. My one recommendation is, if you are going to do this, definitely learn the rules for climbing creatures in whatever system you're using, because your players will 1000% try to climb it, Last but not least, I want to talk about how you can use animated armor not as much as a monster, but more of a puzzle. Because like I said previously, animated armor are these magical constructs that really just try to accomplish whatever goal they were given when created, meaning that your party can like out-logic them. So for this room, for this encounter, it is a very typical room you'd find in a dungeon. The party is doing a dungeon crawl right now. They are trying to get through the next door, and to get through the next door, they have to find all the clues in this room. Now, in this room, there are also a bunch of animated armor, and these animated armor were given one goal: grab and destroy whoever enters this room. Now, to add on to that puzzle, in the center of this room, there is an anti-magic sphere that is putting out a radius of about 10 feet. Because that is something also to note about animated armor, specifically in D&D 5th edition, and I also run it the same way in Pathfinder 2nd edition, is if these creatures are ever hit with any type of anti-magic auras, or any like tool that, you know, dispels magic, they will cease functioning. So, in this puzzle, the animated armor have one goal, and that is to stop anyone who is in this room. The party can then run to the center to try to escape them because they cannot enter the anti-magic aura, which then creates the puzzle of how is the party going to run out of this aura, find the clues they need to get to the next room, and then run back to it, which creates this very fun atmosphere. This is a puzzle I have run in my games before, and it does create this dynamic of like, okay, someone has to go run that way to distract the animated armors, or we have to like pull them into this aura while like someone else has to go find all the clues so we can get to the next room. And it's pretty great. So use animated armor as puzzles. That's the simple way of what I'm trying to say there. Give them interesting like commands, interesting guard commands that your party can try to out logic. And yeah, those are 3 different ways you can use animated armor. I really like this creature. If you couldn't tell, I use them in my games all the time. And you can really come up with some creative stuff when you really get into it. So I hope you liked this video. This is my second type of encounter video I have made. I want to make more because I love making battle maps and talking about monsters. So if you have a specific monster or a specific type of battle you want me to cover, or like specific encounters, let me know and I will try to make a video on it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and be excellent to each other.